Well, hello, boys and girls. It's good to see you watching us again. This morning's story is from the Bible, and some of you probably know it. It's about Abraham, and he had a son called Isaac, and his son Isaac had now grown up, and Abraham wanted him to get married, but he wanted him to get married to a lady that loved God. Isaac loved God, and he wanted to make sure that he married a lady who loved God. So Abraham said to his servant, I want you to take 10 big camels and put lots of good things on them, and I want you to leave this area and go to where the people do love God. And when you get there, I want you to find not just a lady who loves God, but the one that God has chosen for my son Isaac. And the servant said, well, I don't know how I'm going to do that. And Abraham said, you just do this, what I'm saying, and it'll be working out for you. So he went off with 10 camels, and of course other men looking after the camels too. So there's quite a few of them. And they went all the way to this land where the people did love God. And they came to a big well, and the camels were very thirsty. You know, camels are very big animals, and they live sometimes in the desert where there's not much water, so they get very, very thirsty. They need lots and lots of water to drink. So they came to the well, and the men also needed water to drink. So this servant to Abraham said to God, I've been sent here to find this special young lady. I want, Lord, to ask you to lead me to her. So as each young lady comes along to the well to take up some water, I will say to her, can you give me to drink? And if she says yes, but that's all, then that's not the right lady. But if she says to me, yes, I'll give you to drink, and I'll also give water for all your camels to drink, then I know that she's the one that you have chosen for my master Isaac. So the very first lady that came along, her name was Rebecca. And the servant said to her, could you give me a drink of water, please, from the well? And she said, yes, and I will also get some water for your camels as well. The very first girl who said that. Wow, that was amazing. But of course, that was a very big job for her. She got to get enough water for all these 10 big camels. So she had what's called a trough, which is a sort of a huge big basin that you can put the water in. And she went to the well with her water pot, got some water out, poured it into the trough. Then the camels started drinking out of it. Then she ran back. And the Bible does say that she ran to do this. She wasn't walking backwards and forwards. She was running backwards and forwards, trying to get enough water for these camels. And it took quite a bit of time. And it's marvellous that she was prepared to do this for people that she didn't even know. She was very kind, and she kept going until the camels had had enough water. Well, that was wonderful. Well, then the servant took out of his pocket 2 golden bracelets, and they were worth £2,000 each. So that's £4,000 worth for the 2 bracelets. 1 for each hand. And also he had a golden earring, and that was worth £500. So together they were £4,500, and she was given that for that work. So she was well paid in the end, wasn't she? She didn't do it in order to get anything. She was doing it because she loved people and she loved camels. But God made sure that she was well rewarded with £4,500 worth of jewellery. Wasn't that good? So then she said, where are you going to stay the night? Because you just come to another country. Where are you going to stay? And he said, we don't know. She said, look, come back to my father's house. I live with my mum and dad, and they live on a big farm, and you'll be able to bring all the camels there, and they'll be able to sleep there during the night, and we'll feed the camels as well, and we'll feed you. You can come and to meet my mum and dad, and that would be great. So he said, yes, thank you very, very much for that. That's what I'll do. So he and the people with him and all the camels, they went to Rebecca's house where she lived with her mum and dad, And sure enough, the mum and dad were very kind, and they fed the camels and they gave them somewhere to sleep and so on. And then the man said, I've got to tell you why I've come here. I have a master called Abraham. He's a very rich man, and he's a good man, and he loves God, and he wants his son to find a wife who loves God as well. He doesn't want his son to marry somebody who doesn't love God. That would be terrible for him. So he said, I put it to God what I should do, and he's led me to Rebecca, your daughter. Now, would you be prepared to let Rebecca come with me all the way back to where my father Abraham, where Abraham lives, and meet his son Isaac? Would you be prepared to do that? And they said, we will do that if Rebecca wants to go. So they asked Rebecca, and she said, yes, I'd like to go, even though it meant meeting somebody she'd never met before. She was taking a risk in some ways, but she could see that God was with her. So that's what they did. After they'd all had their meal and they'd slept there the night, in the morning, they got all the camels together, and they gave them more gifts off the back of the camel. And then they started coming back on their journey all the way back to where Abraham lived. And Rebecca came with them. She was on a camel like the other people. And when they got near to where Abraham lived, they saw a man in the field saying his prayers. And it was Isaac, the very man that she was going to marry. And when she was told who it was, she thought, well, I've got to meet him. So they stopped the camel. She got off the camel. She went over to him and explained who she was. And we're told that Isaac liked her a lot. He liked what she looked like, and she liked the fact that she was a nice person, and above all, that she loved God. And so they got married, and they had a very good time. And it was all because God had singled her out. God had chosen her from all the other ladies to be his wife. Now, you boys and girls, as you grow up, first of all, I hope that you yourselves love God and will always love God, and not when you grow up say, well, I don't want to be a Christian anymore, I don't want to do that. I hope you will always love God, and I hope that when the day comes, many years from now, when you consider about getting married to somebody, whatever else is true about them, you make sure that they love God, that he's the person that God has chosen for you to marry, and then you'll be not only happy, but you'll live a Christian way of life too. I hope you understood that story. Thank you.